exactly how we said it. It wasn't that bad. Was the scene where the two like stoner kids run out with like guns and they're like, "Oh man, we're gonna do," and then blows their heads like right off. And like, holy smoke!
I mean, the best shot of the movie though is when Wolf has the two xenomorphs. He has each of them by the throats, and he's just looking at both of them in the tunnel during the tunnel fight. That's a cool.
Yeah,
it's a good scene. Like, so I watched it again. I remember I saw it in the theaters. I'm like, what just happened to me? But watching it again, I actually own AVP full screen. I have a double pack. And I got it for $5. I don't know why I have AVP full screen, but it has AVPR. But I don't know. I had fun with it. I think I had more fun than I did with AVP.
It's more of a, I mean, yeah, the people who made the movie generally do more fun or like visual effects types of films. Like it was written by the guy who did the remake of Shaft and Savages. So I mean, it was definitely, it had a lot of people behind it that were more into having fun with their movies, not so much trying to do like, we're going to do a Predator movie or we're going to do an Alien movie. So we got to have this, this, and this. It was not a cookie cutter thing. It was basically, I mean, you know, also you could interchange, the different characters. I mean,
I don't know any of their names.
Well, I don't, I wrote down who it's starring. Well, I mean, it doesn't really matter. Stephen Pasquale is probably the only person who's notable because he
From Rescue Me.
Yeah. And he grew up in Hershey, Pennsylvania, which was only like 40 minutes away from where I'm from in Pennsylvania. And the only thing I knew him from was he played Mark Furman in the American Crime Story TV show. Hey. Watch that. I was like, whoa, wait. But he plays like the older brother who's kind of like cool, but like, you know, whatever.
And it also features
John
Wolf.
Ortiz.
Yeah, John Ortiz is good. Wolf fist fighting a pred alien. They're punching. There's a scene in this movie where they're punching each other in the face.
Yeah, they're duking it out really heavily.
They're fist fighting. There's a scene. They throw 4 total punches and they just hit each other in the face. I'm like, what? What is happening?
Then he takes off his mask, and it's like, oh,
that's a terrible idea. I'm going to drop my shield. No. As soon as that guy drops his shield, I'm throwing a spear out. Now, John Ortiz is good, though. He's been in a ton of movies.
Oh, yeah. Carlito's Way. He was in the Miami Vice remake. He was an American Gangster. He's in the movie that's in theaters right now, Bumblebee. I mean, he's still killing it. He's the guy that, like, when you see him, you know exactly who he is. Because, like, oh, yeah, that guy.
He's like the guy from The Guest that we talked about, Leland.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're both authority figures.
Yeah.
So, there you go. I mean, it gets a lot of hate on the internet. You know, some of the user comments I've read, people said this movie is completely garbage. Stop making movies anymore. And Strauss Brothers, shame on you, just plain awful. So I don't agree with that, but when looking this movie up, you see an overwhelming amounts of reviews that say that.
I think I think it's better now that we have expectations out of the way, and if you just watch it to have fun, you can do that.
It's a great movie to just, you know, to watch when you're having a couple of beers, or, you know, if you're just hanging out around your house, or if you want to have something in the background while you're cleaning. You don't have to pay attention to it.
Just have Wolf beating up aliens. One alien decides to go, or one predator go. I take 3 predators. I'd be like, hey, Hank, Steven, and Bear, come with me.
Hank, Steven, and Bear.
And Crab Meat Pete.
Put down that damn guitar.
Join me. Let's go fight some xenomorphs.
Stop singing with Chris.
We gotta get him before they get to the pyramid.
Apparently, I mean, like, people around the world liked it as well, obviously, because it made $120 million off of a $40 million budget.
That's not bad.
That's not terrible at all. I mean, there's definitely enough room to make a Alien vs. Predator 3. I don't see what would be a need for it, but let's
say they spent $30 million on marketing, maybe $20 million. I mean, either way, that gets up to 60 to 70 million. So you still made $40 million on it, $50 million. So you made a profit on it. So my movie, you're going to be surprised, is Club Dread. This is the Broken Lizard's 3rd movie. It was Puddle Cruiser, Super Troopers, and then Club Dread. I read Jay Chandrasekhar's book, and he actually went to director's jail because of this movie. The studio wanted to take it away from them. They weren't happy with it. The Rotten Tomato critic score is 29, audience score is 43, which blows my mind. IMDb is 5.7, and Metacritic is 45. So this movie, Club Dread, it was following up Super Troopers, which that's a hard movie to follow up because they planned that. So you know what the my theory, like, so you watch Downton Abbey season 1. This is really weird. 6 episodes. And they probably planned for that show for years. And then they're like, okay, a year from now, we need 12 episodes. And you're like, wait, what? So you have to, it's not going to be as good. So these guys planned Super Troopers for years, finally got it made. And then they're like, okay, a year later, we want you to make something else. So they churned out Club Dread. But I like this movie a lot. I think when I saw it in the theaters, I laughed really hard. Like, I had the poster. I thought it was funny. I mean, I don't think it deserves the 29% or the 43 audience score. Like,
I don't think it does either. I mean, you know what you're getting into when you see the front cover of it, without even like knowing anything about the Broken Lizards guys. It's safe to assume this is going to take place in a vacation spot. Death.
It's a good idea.
I love the idea. It's a perfect mix of horror and comedy. I mean, it has great lines in it. I mean, the great lines of dialogue, especially in the beginning. Remember, he's like, "Yo, baby, why don't you lick my chest while I roll up this J?"
Yeah, it's so obvious. Like, they're just like, it knows exactly what it is. Like, it just sends 2 women out with a guy to be killed. Yeah, right. Like, it's just, and like, there's a line in this movie where they're telling this horror story, and there's a guy named Phil Coletti who used to kill people with a machete. And then he got nicknamed, so you think it's going to be Machete Coletti, but then they're like, his nickname was Machete Phil. Like, you know, like, it's like, that's a good bit. Like, Phil Coletti uses a machete, but his nickname's Machete Phil. Like, that's a good bit. And then there's another line where, you know, Jay Chandrasekhar's character, he's like, you know, I'm bringing a machete. Like, just the weird lines. And there's a line where this woman, you and Hank get killed. And so Juan runs up to Coconut Pete and he goes, "You and Hank are dead." And then Coconut Pete goes, "What did we do?" And Juan's like, "No, you and Hank are dead." And Coconut Pete goes, "Is that a threat?" Like, it's so easy.
The girl's name's Penelope.
Yeah, Penelope.
And then, another great line, which I use all the time, is whenever what's his name? The big guy.
Oh, Kevin Heffernan.
He like makes himself thin so he can slide underneath the bed. And she goes, "Why can't you do that all the time?" He goes, "Was that a fat joke?" No one ever suspects the Fun Police. It's bullshit. Yeah. I've always suspect the Fun Police.
And then Coconut Pete goes, "You think Eddie Money has to put up with this shit?" And then one of my favorite lines is Coconut Pete is talking to Sam, the Fun Police, and Coconut Pete wants to bring in a pro to stop the killer on the island. And Coconut Pete's like, "I thought it was time to bring in the pro." And Sam goes, "Hank?" "Yes, Hank, the head of security on all my tours." And then they're like, "So what? He keeps aging hippies from stealing the bong out of your tour bus?" And Coconut Pete goes, "It just so happens Hank used to be a federal agent." "Yeah, that's right. Head of an FBI task force on serial killers. Single-handedly caught the Minneapolis Mangler." And then this guy goes, "Who's the Minneapolis Mangler?" "Exactly." But then I like, and then this bartender Dave goes, "Pete, you're aware that I personally served this guy 20 beers a day for the last 10 years, right?" Like, it's just, that's a good, like, "Who's the Minneapolis Mangler?" "Exactly." Like,
he says there's always got to be someone who shits in the cereal.
Yeah, someone's always shitting in the apple pie. And on the apple pie, that shit's back. And then he gets his throat slit.
He just walks up and cuts his throat.
Yeah. And there's like a Tetris scene that's really random in here where the guy's running around like the bushes and doing all that. And then
the fruit thing too. Yeah, remember? Oh god, that's so.
Oh yeah, they're playing Pac-Man.
Remember he has the machete and he cuts the suit and it's his guts come out.
And it's like, what the? Screw this! I'm getting bake ached, like BAKE and then AKED, bake ached. Like, I'm getting baked. But just, you know, like, I'm getting a machete. And he's talking about playing, like, you know, Andre Agassi didn't know how to play Tiddlywinks or something like that. Or, you know, like Bruisers and Bears. Like,
there's also another great line. There's a great line with his character, Jay Tranzik. I can't say his last name.
Yeah, Jay Chandrasekhar?
Yeah. Whenever he's pinned into the room and then the killer comes walking and goes, "Oh, it's you. I knew it was always good." He's like, and then Kevin Heffernan and the girls in the other room, he's like, "Damn it, just say his name."
Like, I knew it was you the entire time.
It's like, just say his name, damn it.
But like, and then Kevin Heffernan's character knows all the Krav Maga and like he knows all the like
touches his nose and the guy drops.
So then he's like, he'll be orgasming for the next 3 minutes. And the guy's just like, ooh. is always fun until someone breaks the jacuzzi. Like, this movie, like, I don't know what people were expecting from it, because the commercials, the previews, the characters, the poster, it basically said what this movie is.
Yeah, I mean, when I saw this, I bought it in a twin pack with Super Troopers. There was
Kramer versus Kramer.
Yeah, Kramer versus Kramer. It was with a Requiem for a Dream.
Oh, goodness.
So when I picked it up, I was like, well, I know exactly what this movie's about, and it was great. It was a great little find. It was just fun, and I don't see why there would be so much hate for it, because when I first saw that everybody didn't like this back in like 2006, I think it was when I think I first saw it, and I was just like, well, I'll miss this one and I'll wait for Beer Fest, and I watched Beer Fest, and I love that movie, but they yeah, I watched Club Dread, and it was like, well, why do people not like this movie? It's great. It's funny. It's ridiculous. There's a lot of great one-liners.
The killer never stops coming towards him. Remember at the end, the killer's cut in half and he attacks again? Yeah. And then the guy's like, oh, leg. Come on.
And then he gets tied to the boat. Yeah. And then it ends with his legs kicking, swimming towards
I just love, oh, come on. Like, I don't know, just you could tell they were having fun, and I do think it's inspired. And I don't know, Machete Coletti, like what a great Machete Phil.
Yeah, right.
Like, and then that scene where she's like, play what's Jimmy Buffett's big song?
Margaritaville.
Yeah, play Margaritaville. And Coconut Pete's, all right, we're gonna get our R rating here. He's like Margarita. He's like motherfucker, son of a bitch.
I think you're talking about Pina Colada Bird. Yeah. That was made 7.5 years before that movie. That song even came out. But you wouldn't know that because you were born in 1980.
You think Eddie Money has to put up with this shit? Like the Minneapolis Mango. Exactly. Yeah. Is that a threat? But just seeing the fun that Bill Paxton had, you could tell he loved playing Coconut Pete. You could just tell. And for years after it, well, he passed away. It sucked. But he would join the podcast with Steve Lemmy and Kevin Heffernan have a podcast. And he would join their podcast just to hang out. He loved these guys. And if you do get the DVD, there's 2 commentaries on it. The group of 5, they split up in a group of 3 and group of 2, and there's 2 commentaries for it. So it's just fun. Oh, when he's with Penelope, when he first hooks up with Penelope, and he goes, what are you, kind of some circus freak? Like that? Like, I can't do his voice. Juan's voice, but like, I don't know, he just calls her like a circus freak, and he calls her Penelope, and it's just like I don't know. I have fond memories of this movie. So when, it's kind of weird. This is a movie where people are like, I hate that. I'm like, really?
How can it be? It's not that rough of a movie.
No.
So I don't really understand the distaste for it.
Can we say?
I kind of get why people wouldn't like the Slammin' Salmon. I love that movie.
I love that movie.
Oh my! I love Michael Clark Duncan. Punch him in the gut, make him smell like a skunk. Wiki. It's like,
and then he kind of fails a little bit. But
get back to work.
What Rocky Marciano cherries?
Did you know that the Marciano cherry was named after the boxer Rocky Marciano? It's actually Rocky Marciano, champ. Whatever,
mama.
He's like, stop insulting me in front of my Tokyokian guests.
Will Forte's in that movie, like Kobe Smulders, like that's a funny flick. I like it.
Yeah, Will Forte was in a couple other movies when he did.
Oh yeah, he did Beer Fest.
He was great. Like whenever he's like he keeps going. And how do you say this in English? It's like it's one line that keeps going and going. And that movie's just so funny. Like the scene where in Beer Fest, whenever they're training for the Beer Fest, and they show Germany and they're lifting up kegs over their head while on treadmills.
They're like the guy from The Guest, David from The Guest.
Yeah, that's where they got the idea from.
Yeah, you're right. All right, can we say it's not that bad?
It's not that bad. I mean, it's not going to win any Oscars, but it's definitely something worth watching.
I think it still has a chance. Most underappreciated movie from 17 years ago. All right, what do you got next?
My next movie that I picked, I saw this in theaters. It's on demand right now, or you can rent it. But it was filmed here in Georgia, and it was filmed at Six Flags actually. And they did as a promotional device was that they actually created this park within their Six Flags parks to promote the movie. It kind of worked. But the movie is 2018's Hellfest.